What's happening, everyone? Welcome into the Fantasy Stock Exchange. We got another mock draft coming at you. This time we are starting to finish up the NFC East. We're going with the Washington Redskins, currently hold pick number 2 in the 2020 NFL Draft. Danny, how you doing?
Doing well again. Yeah, me and Corey here, ready to bring you 7 rounds interactive mock with the Redskins. We're gonna be trading down, trading up, gonna have some fun with it. So yeah, just stay tuned. This is a series we're excited to pump out to you guys. So yeah, you ready to kick this off, Corey?
Yeah, I want to mention one thing is if you're a fan of either of these teams, don't be afraid to give us feedback. We're not experts of these teams. I know even scouting people in the media don't always know what every team needs, and sometimes the fan of the team knows better than the media person. So yeah, don't be afraid if we do something that you don't like and you want to tell us about it, tell us why we're stupid, or
Yeah.
give us some constructive feedback. Go ahead and do that. But yeah, let's get it kicked off.
Heck, if you want to go in the comments and roast me for being biased against the team, because to be honest, I mean, I am a Cowboys fan. If you want to just go down in the comments, like rip me a new one, go ahead, because we're definitely here to give you guys a good experience. So yeah, let's start this puppy off. So Bengals at 1 take Joe Burrow. I mean, that's expected. Now we're at 2 here. I mean, this is really where the draft starts for me because say a team like wants to trade up for Tua, we have Chase Young staring at the board. I mean, I'm good either way. Corey, what are you really thinking here for a possible scenario?
Yeah, earlier in the process, I didn't think this was a pick that required much analysis at all. I think it was you take Chase Young and you don't think twice. But now with some of the rumblings that they're doing their due diligence on Tua themselves, maybe they're looking at a quarterback. Maybe they just want to leverage the pick to potentially draw trade interest. I'm not sure. But either way, it's definitely during the actual pick in the NFL draft, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if they milk the clock and field some calls on potentially Tua or Herbert, or if even someone wants to come up for Chase Young. Like, you never know. But as it stands right now, I think you don't overthink this one. You stick and pick, and you pick the best player in the draft, and that's Chase Young.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of best player, best fit, Chase Young is definitely a good fill here. Now, do you want to potentially explore an option with, say, the Dolphins at 5? Say if they don't give a king's ransom, we just take two or not two, take Chase Young. Do you want to explore it, or do you want to just go with Chase Young right away?
If I had to guess right now, I don't think that they're going to be trying to trade up, the Dolphins. I think they're
Okay.
okay with either Tua or Herbert, to be honest. So if they do try and trade up, one, I think it'll be most likely with Detroit, and two, I don't think that I just don't think they're going to trade up in general, because I think the Chargers are the ones that are really in on Tua, and I actually believe some of the smoke of that the Dolphins have Herbert ranked higher or something. Maybe that's stupid of me to believe that, but I kind of actually believe it. So I think there might not be as much movement for quarterback as we've seen in past years.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was just playing a little devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate again. Advocate. Sorry, I'm a little off. Again, yeah, Chase Young is the best player in this class. You're at 2. I mean, maybe it's not your absolute biggest need, even though it says it right here. I mean, let's be honest here. Offensive tackles their biggest need, but you go best player available. Chase Young is going to be a generational type pass rusher in this league. So don't overthink it. Take Chase Young at 2, and yeah, count your blessings because that's great value.
Yeah. See, like I said, the quarterbacks were sticking picks, 5 Tua and 6 Herbert. I do think whether those two quarterbacks go to those two teams is one question, but I do think that actually is a possibility that 5 and 6 they just stand pat both teams and get their quarterbacks.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. By the way, Jordan Love at 23 to the
Yeah,
Patriots.
Patriots getting Jordan Love's definitely an interesting fit. I don't think it's going to happen personally. I don't think Bill Belichick particularly likes a quarterback like that. I think he'd be more interested in Hurts, from even potentially Eason over Jordan Love's style of quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we both have him as our quarterback 3. Wait, what you see?
The Bucks just took T. Higgins.
Oh, oh, the Cowboys took Jonah Jackson.
Yeah, see, the Redskins don't have a second round pick due to the Montez Sweat trade, so finding a tackle, potentially a receiver, some of
Gonna
their
be
other big
rough.
needs is going to be a bit of an issue here.
Well, let's go take a look. By the way, what was I mentioning?
We got sniped on Matt Pert. That's who I was looking at.
That's a great pick. I mean, you know how high I am on Matt Pert. Yeah, I mean, these tackles here just.
I actually kind of like Isaiah Wilson. So to me, I think he's going to go in the second round. Personally, I think the league. I heard Matt Miller, Bleacher Report, tweet out something that the league is very high on Isaiah Wilson, and they think he's going to be like a top 60 pick in the draft. So
I
to
mean,
me, Isaiah
66.
Wilson would be the pick here. I think he's better than Tega. I think Tega is going to fall because of medical stuff. So I don't think he's going to go this high. Yeah, to me, my pick would be Isaiah Wilson. Actually, can I see the interior players real quick? I just want to see who they got available.
I mean, Harris is probably the best one there, in my opinion, and
Yeah, I think.
Biotish.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Wilson's a better prospect than Nick Harris is.
I agree. All right, let's go Isaiah Wilson. I mean, obviously, everybody's known by now that Trent Williams has basically been on the block for over a year. I mean, he literally didn't play last year because he didn't want to report to the team. They're going to move on with him. It just depends on when at this point. I think he's probably going to be moved during the draft. So at this point, we may have an extra second round pick if we were doing this realistically here, because there's just no way he's going to be on the team for the NFL draft. So what are your thoughts on the Trent Williams rumors at this point?
Yeah, I think if they're able to get anything for him, it's probably a good thing at this point. If they can get even like a third, second round pick, even like just get rid of him. He clearly doesn't want to be there. I heard there's reports that it's hard moving him because both camps are in different ends of the spectrum, because the Redskins want to get good compensation for him, and Trent Williams wants to get paid as soon as he's traded. So those two things don't really match. From the perspective of the team that's trading for him, usually if you're going to pay a guy, you're usually not giving up as much draft compensation to get him. So
Now, I was going to mention you're a big fan of the Bucks. What if they floated around 45 for him?
man, that's the problem with Tampa is that Donovan Smith is a left tackle and he's locked up for 2 years. And I know some people are like, oh, we'll just kick him to the right side. I don't think it's that easy. I've never played offensive line, but I don't think it's as simple. Donovan Smith's been playing left tackle since his freshman year at Penn State. I don't think he can just kick over to the right side and have no issues. And obviously you're not going to send Trent Williams to the right side because he's an all-pro left tackle. So the problem with Tampa as a fit is like if he was a right tackle, an all-pro right tackle, I'd be willing to do it. But the left tackle thing, like Donovan Smith situation, it's a little murky. I don't know if I would do it if I was Tampa.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, just thinking potential fits for Trent Williams. I mean, you can even look at a team like the Jets. Like if the Jets were able to land him for their second round pick, I think anybody in that fan base who has watched their offensive line play over the past few years would do it in literally a second.
Yeah.
So and you mentioned receiver before. I mean, this is a really deep class. Let's go take a look at who's available. I mean, there's a lot of guys here that I feel like could probably make it back to me in my next round pick that are kind of in a similar tier. Like maybe you take like an Isaiah Hodgins, Tyler Johnson, Colin Johnson, one of those guys in like round 5. I personally here would probably look towards another position to really fill my roster, but yeah, we could check the interior as well. Nick Harris is screaming out to me right now as a potential great fit.
Can you check the tight ends too? I want to see it.
Yep.
Actually, corner is actually a bigger need. Actually, now that they traded Quentin Dunbar, that might be one of their biggest needs that they have.
Ojemudia is a good player.
Ojemudia is the one who's sticking out to me too. I think he's a great. I would sign up for that pick. I think he's in a tier above the other guys that are there.
I agree with that. I mean, as much as I like guys like Josiah Scott, Lamar Jackson, Dane Jackson, they're clearly, in my opinion, a tier below Ojemudia at this point. So getting him here is great value. So
I think we might have to double up at corner too.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, their corners. They have Fabian Moreau. They drafted Jimmy Moreland in the 7th last year, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, he didn't really play too well last year. So you definitely want to have a bunch of young guys. You could just let them duke it out in training camp and see who kind of wins the jobs. So
for sure,
without Quentin Dunbar is a great player. I think he's one of the most underrated corners in the league, and I think the Seahawks absolutely stole him. So
that was tough to see. Like they got him. What was it? A 3rd round pick that they got him
for? I think 5th. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I would have given up a 3rd for him easily. Like he's a great player. But yeah, no, we're back on the clock here. We can look at the interior.
Who I wanted to look at. Damn it.
He went. Okay.
Harrison Bryant looking good though.
Harrison Bryant's looking good. I just wanted to take a look. Yeah, all the interior offensive linemen we would have wanted here are gone. Like the Nick Harris's, Sternbergers, or not Sternberger. I'm thinking the tight end. Logan Sternberg. Bredesen, yeah. I mean, as a Michigan fan, I saw him play a lot. So,
yeah.
I mean, we saw tight ends. We could take a look back at wide receivers just to see who's kind
Yeah,
of
let's
like a
see
good
who's on
fit
the
here.
board for receivers.
I'm looking at Colin Johnson here. I think that's a really good fit for what they need. I mean, you got Terry McLaurin, who's more of the separator. Uh, Getting a big body out there to really give Dwayne Haskins a big weapon on the outside. I think it's a good fit for their roster. What are your thoughts on like that sort of
To me, I
receiver?
think Harmon's a better a prospect than Colin Johnson is. So I I would stick with Harmon as that kind of big bodied like guy. So I'd be looking more at someone like Hodgins, Duvernay, or Cephas if I
Okay,
was going receiver here, because I think
more of a
McLaurin,
slot.
to me, McLaurin is a separator and a deep threat. He kind of does both. He can do both for you. So if you're looking for a guy who's either a deep threat or a separator, that would probably be the route I would go if you're subscribing to the basketball team theory of building a receiver core. So
See, I was gonna mention a guy that I really like. I would rather replace Harmon than I would replace a guy like Steven Sims, because I really think Steven Sims came on at the end of last season, and he's like that, not a gadget guy, but he's like that speedy, creative guy that can play that role for your offense. Uh, so I mean that's what I'm thinking. But if you want to go double down on that, I mean it doesn't hurt to get another playmaker on that offense. They desperately need it.
yeah, I mean, I had a mid-second round grade on Kelvin Harmon last year. I thought he was a great talent. He was a top 8 receiver for me. So I still believe in his talent, and I know he impressed in training camp last year. I think he got banged up a little bit and might have stunted his growth a little bit, but I'd still like to, because we don't have that much high draft capital for Washington where the receivers are going to go in this class. I think a guy like Duvernay, Hodgins, or Cephas is definitely the type of receiver I'd want to take, because I think they'll fit well with those other two guys on the outside.
Now, in terms of fit, do you think Hodgins may be the best, simply because he's more of like the best possession guy out of that group? Would you
Yeah,
say?
I think Hodgins is probably where I'm leaning also.
All right,
I
let's.
think Duvernay is a little too similar to McLaurin to me. So
Yeah, that's what I was
and
gonna say.
Cephas is kind of like a separator who didn't test too well, which kind of worries me a little bit too. So
Yeah, okay. Let's take Hodgins here. Again, like that basketball theory, you want to build your lineup like a basketball team. You want to build your receiving room like a basketball team. They all excel in different abilities. I mean, you got your rebounder who can go up and get it. You got your point guard who's just an absolute playmaker.
which I think
Uh,
Hodgins is.
Yeah. So I like that pick there. We're back on the clock here at 162.
We get
Uh,
to Josiah DeGuara every single round 5 of these mock drafts.
the Bucks. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. Oh, Javelin Goodrich going off the board, and J.R.
yeah,
Reed back to back. Like those were
yeah.
two tough ones. Josiah Scott as well. I mean, those are guys I really like here.
What's tight end looking like?
We could check it, but this slot corner
Oh,
class, and
that's a lock pick to me.
yeah,
Harrison Bryant in the 5th
easily.
round. That's an easy pick.
This slot corner draft, like nobody really mentions it as much as like obviously you're going to bring up the receivers, you're going to bring up the outside corners, but these slot corners are fantastic this year. I mean, you're getting a starting level player in the 4th, 5th round this year, which is just insane to think about. I mean, you got Josiah Scott, you got Javelin Goodrich, you got guys like that who are just going to be
Lavert
absolute
Hill.
values. Lavert Hill, you got guys who are just going to be values. They can step in right away and be your slot corner. So, yeah, this is a really good draft if you need that type of player. Of course, my
Yeah.
team their cornerback room is basically all slot corners in Dallas. But
Yeah. Definitely. I might think of, if I'm the Redskins here, I might be thinking I might go back to the corner position soon.
yeah,
Because Jimmy Moreland didn't really develop too well from what I've heard from Redskins people. And Fabian Moreau is like their only like notable corner that I can think of right now, aside from the guy we took already.
yeah.
I'm
I mean, we
thinking,
got Ojamudia, so we got more of a
yeah,
bigger body outside
he's
corner.
more of a long
Yeah,
corner. Lavert
uh,
Hill is kind of staring at me right now.
yeah,
I think he'd be the pick
I
if it's
agree.
me. Give Jimmy
I
Moreland some competition. I think Lavert Hill can play on the outside too. I don't think he's limited to the slot.
I mean, I watched him a lot at Michigan. I mean, he's a good player. I mean, Michigan's been spoiled with these corners recently. I mean, you got the guys like Jordan Lewis in the past. You got Lavert Hill. I mean, to me, like Michigan corners typically come into the league and play just the right type of game, and I feel like Lavert Hill really fits that mold. Uh, Getting him here round 7. I mean, you plug him in. He has the versatility to play inside, outside. You pair him with Ojamudia. You pair him with a young cornerback room. I really like the fit. Give them some competition. So
Yeah, I don't think Lavert Hill's ever going to be a Pro Bowl corner, but I do think he can be a 3rd, 4th corner for a team pretty steadily and not get beat too much. So, which is kind of what the Redskins need. The Redskins my outlook on them for this season is I can imagine a world where they're like the 2018 Bears or the 2019 49ers. The addition of
Really?
Chase Young makes their defensive line very intriguing. Their front seven in general, because I think Holcomb and if Reuben Foster can come back, and I believe they added another linebacker that's slipping my mind right now, but their front seven to me looks like pretty good. And then they have Landon Collins back at safety. And if they can beef up their corner room, I think they can have a very solid defense. And then if they have a good defense like that, maybe they can get Dwayne Haskins to be kind of like a game manager type and just get the ball to McLaurin and Harmon and
Geis, if he's healthy.
hand it off to
Yeah.
Geis and Peterson and whoever else they
Uh,
signed at running
Bryce
back,
Love.
Barber and Bryce
I mean,
Love. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Bryce Love, I mean, if he didn't have the injury concerns coming out of college, he would have been a top 2 round pick. I mean, he was just fantastic in college. Again, he missed his whole rookie season. He's really coming back. He's a guy I really like the potential there. Paired with Geis for the long term, I definitely don't think they're going to add a running back.
No, I wouldn't if I was them.
I mean, they lost Chris Thompson. I can definitely see Bryce Love stepping into that role right away, like if he's fully healthy. But yeah, going back to the Redskins, to me, the make or break of their defense. I mean, they got the front, like their front is fantastic. They got the edge, they got the interior presences in Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, guys like that. Yeah, exactly. The main thing for me that you saw with the Bears and you saw with the Niners in terms of like revolutionizing into a top defense, we need to see their inside linebackers develop like fast. Like if Reuben Foster is able to develop into
he's talented enough
that's what I mean.
to anchor a defense. The problem is if he can get his head screwed on straight. But Cole Holcomb showed pretty decently for I believe he was like a day 3 pick, was he not?
Yep.
So if you can develop him even into like a 2-down like tone setter for you, and then you have like some sub guys and Reuben Foster and they did sign someone. It's slipping my mind who they signed, but
who was it? I know they had Zach Brown at one point, and then he ended up.
Yeah, no, I think he's gone now.
That was a while ago.
Either way, I think if you saw it with the 49ers, the 49ers had high draft picks on their defensive line, Buckner and Armstead and Thomas and
Nick
and D Ford and stuff, and those guys, and they brought in D Ford in the offseason. They brought in Nick Bosa in the offseason, and then
Fred Warner
injected exactly.
They
brought in Quan Alexander.
Fred Warner and Quan Alexander was probably the best linebacking duo on a per game basis of the year. I mean,
I'm going to disagree with that, but
I mean, they're up there. Like they were fantastic.
Yeah,
I mean,
I saw a lot of Quan Alexander in Tampa. He's a great like run with your hair on fire type of running linebacker, but you need a guy like Fred Warner or Levante David to roll with him because they're more kind of like instinctual than and disciplined than Quan Alexander is. But yeah, I definitely like the outlook of the Redskins this year. Actually, like I honestly think they can be like a
top 10 defense
first team, but I could see there's 7 teams that can make the playoffs. Honest to God, it wouldn't shock me if they had a top 8 defense and snuck at like a 7 seed at like 9-7 with like Haskins kind of playing like all he really has to be if you have a great defense like that is 2018 Mitch Trubisky or 2019 Jimmy Garoppolo. Like you don't have to he doesn't have to take major steps to have a good team like that if you have some talent around him, which I think on the defensive side of the ball they do. So
now I'm not as high on them. Like I think they're probably more of like the 9-10 type team, but they're definitely not going to pick second again. I mean, their defense is just too talented to let that happen again. They had tons of injuries, and especially the thing that's going to make or break their season. Also, like I mentioned, the linebackers, but we just need to see their offensive line actually stay healthy for 1 year.
Yeah,
like every single year, I swear, at least 4 positions on that offensive line are played by backups. Like at least 4 players that are starting on that offensive line get hurt every year. Like it's been a theme for like literally the past 3 years. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, their defensive end, I forget who it was. I want to say it was Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen was scheduled to come in to play guard if they had one more injury. Jeez. So, yeah, let's just
Ty and Secchi on the Bills. I don't know if they might have released him or something, but he got paid big money in the offseason because he was their swing tackle and he was always playing because their starting tackles were always hurt.
Yeah, man, I remember as a Cowboys fan, we kind of beat up on him, but it's just kind of like the Redskins are like that team in the division. Like I hate the Eagles. I don't like the Giants, but like the Redskins are that team in the division where like every other fan kind of like has felt bad for them. Like they don't like
that's the NFC. They're the NFC South Bucks basically.
Yeah.
No one really hates the Bucks in the NFC South.
Like I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't hate the Redskins, but like obviously like I don't want them to win, but it's like every now and then I'm like, oh, I'll throw them a bone. I feel too bad. Like they're always like the runt of the division. But yeah,
Um,
if you're Redskins fans, don't feel offended. It's just playing
yeah.
around. But uh,
I like Trey Adams here. I think he can play both inside and outside,
yep.
which is what I think. I mean, like you mentioned, the Redskins consistently have a lot of injuries on their offensive line, and having someone who has inside outside versatility will definitely not hurt them. And I mean, probably not smart to be picking a guy who has injury concerns for the Washington Redskins, but I think they cleaned house on their whole medical staff, so hopefully they got some better people in there.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Trey Adams, going from Washington, University of Washington to play for the Redskins. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it's a story. Take him in the seventh round. I mean, at one point he was considered a top 20, top 25 type of talent. Injuries really, like again, he's not that same player. It sucks to see, but injuries have taken their toll on him. But if they get any sort of that, say, get him at 75% of what he was supposed to be, I mean, getting him in the seventh round here is really good value
Yeah,
for a guy like that. So, yeah, I mean, take your shot. Maybe he regains some of that form, and yeah, just roll with it.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking like we're out of picks for the team. So yeah, no, yeah, let's wrap this up again. We're gonna show the draft board so you guys can kind of see, recap what exactly happened, our ideologies behind the picks. So yeah, we'll just check that after the Giants make the Mr. Irrelevant pick.
Yeah, we're gonna grade our own performance if you want, per se. But if you disagree with our grades, feel free to tell us that we got a C minus or whatever, and we shouldn't have taken Isaiah Wilson. He's a bum. Whatever you think. But I'm gonna give this one a B minus. I
Yeah,
don't. I'm not the biggest Michael Ojemudia fan, but I do think he has talent. I think he can develop. The problem with that I have with the pick, even though I think he was the best corner on the board at the time, is that I think he's raw, and the Redskins may need a corner that can develop
step
and
in.
play right now. So it honestly would, if this were the way their draft shook out, it wouldn't surprise me if Lavert Hill beat him out for a starting job.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I'm not particularly as harsh. I feel like every grade I've given so far has been a BB plus, and I think I'm going to stick with it simply because Chase Young is just
Yeah,
such a talent. Like I think that no matter what you do for the rest of the draft, Chase Young just deserves at least a B, at
yeah,
least a B.
your team got instantly better
Yeah.
when you add a player like that. Like Chase Young, the grade I have on him is potential Hall of Famer
Yeah.
coming out of school. So if you have a player who's that highly decorated, I've only ever given that out for three edge rushers: Miles Garrett, Chase Young, and Nick Bosa. The only three edge rushers I've ever given that a high of a grade to. So
Now,
I think Chase Young instantly makes your defense better. He's going to make Montez Sweat better. He's going to make Jonathan Allen better. He's going to make Deron Payne better. He's going to make Matt Ioannidis better. If you guys still keep Kerrigan, which I would probably trade Kerrigan if I was the Redskins
I
after
mean, like,
this.
see if you can get like a third rounder for him at this
Yeah,
point.
or
Rebuild.
even a player if you're trying to
Yeah.
get some get a receiver for him, a veteran receiver, even like some
Young guy.
some offensive line depth or something.
Yeah. Again, I was going to mention out of those three you mentioned, Miles Garrett, Nick Bosa, and Chase Young. Where would you stack them amongst that group? Because I honestly I'm having a hard time not putting him at one.
Yeah, Chase Young would be the highest grade that I've given. So
Yeah.
he would be one, and then it would be Miles Garrett and Nick Bosa.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, with Chase Young, when I watch him, I mean, it's going to really sound like a cliche comparison, but I just see Khalil Mack. Like, it's hard not to. I mean, he's got not a slim, like, obviously he's jacked, but like, he's got an athletic frame. He's so bendy off the edge. I mean, he's so flexible. Like, you see him just dip under tackles with ease. And the amount of power he has is just insane to think about. I mean, he is literally a freak athlete.
yeah,
But
confirmed. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, it's just so fun to watch him. I think he can step in year one and honestly have a Nick Bosa type of level impact on your defense, maybe even be
for sure.
a Pro Bowler year one. So, yeah, getting him at two there, I mean, that remakes your defense in itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
I comped him to Julius Peppers. I
yeah,
love that comp. I heard Bucky Brooks say it, and I've loved it ever since he said it the first time. So I think that's a great comparison for him because Julius Peppers was more of a power guy than a finesse guy. Even though Julius Peppers is a crazy athlete, you'd think he'd be more of a speed guy, but he was just utterly stronger than most people. So, um, anyway, yeah, we'll wrap this one up and
Yep.
get out of here. But make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. We're turn the notification bell on. We're going to be coming at you with all of the teams, all of the mock drafts. So if your team you haven't seen your team yet, it's coming. Don't worry. And yeah, tell us how we did. Make sure you comment a letter grade below. Tell us what picks swayed what part of the grade. If you didn't like the Isaiah Wilson pick, if you want to trade down at number 2, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that about wraps it up. Again, this is part 3 of our 2020 team, or not part 3, sorry, but part 3 of the NFC East of our 2020 NFL team 7-round mock drafts. Stay tuned. I mean, we're going to be pumping these out throughout the draft cycle. So, yeah, I mean, we're coming at you. So, anything else you want to say before we wrap this up, Corey?
No, check out the website too, thefantasystockexchange.com. We are only doing offensive rookie profiles on there because we're a fantasy site. So if you're a fan of the Redskins or any other team and you see your player getting mocked to your team a lot, and you want to go research them, then yeah, you could definitely go do that. If you're a fan of the Eagles and you've seen them get Henry Ruggs a million times, I've written up Henry Ruggs. You can check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
So
not.
the fantasystockexchange.com, we got a lot of content we're pumping out on there as well. So I think we'll get out of here. Take it
Yeah.
easy.
Peace out, y'all.